uh, share in this huddle about summer programming, share ideas, share even just things we're thinking about doing, even if you don't have things in place, or share things that you've seen online that you think are worth trying. It's a great opportunity for us to just brainstorm ideas and hear about the wisdom of all of you. So we'll get right into that. And Don is going to lead us in prayer to begin our time together.
As we begin today, looking forward to summer, I thought it might be nice to spend a little bit of time hearing words about the season that we're in now of spring. During the rain that brings life and the joy of the Easter season. Let's pause, and we begin in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
A prayer in spring. Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away. As the uncertain harvest, keep us here, all simply in the springing of the year. Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night. And make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating round the perfect trees. And make us happy in the darting bird, that suddenly above the bees is heard, the meteor that thrusts in with needle bill, and off a blossom in mid-air stands still. For this is love, and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify to what far ends he will, but which it only needs that we fulfill. Robert Frost.
And so, Lord, we bring all that we are to you today. We ask you to nourish it as the rains nourish the ground, as the sun nourishes the plants. May our thoughts today grow into fruition this summer. We ask this as we make all of our prayers through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Don, for that. One little bit of housekeeping that we're going to do before we get into the huddle. Since we learned that great new skill of arranging our Zoom screen so that we can be in order, we're going to do that because that will be important for us to know who goes next, and then we don't have to call somebody out. We'll just kind of go in order with our sharing. So I'm going to ask those of you who were not part of our Zoom call and learned that skill, all you need to do is grab onto one of the photos and rearrange it. You just grab and pull. So we're going to go in this order. I'm going to have you put your screen in the order that I have my screen so that we can all share. So to my right is Anna Steele. To Anna's right is Mary Olson. So you're going to grab and pull. To Mary's right is Katie. Below me is Jamie.
Can you put that in the chat because I'm already losing?
Yes. Okay, so we're going to go in this order. Jamie, that's so far. To Jamie's right is Patty.
Gotta find Janie.
To Patty's right is Barb. I'm still putting it in the chat, so don't worry, you'll get it in a second. And to Barb's right is Melissa. And then below Jamie, you have Barbara Quinn. You have Jean Mooney to her right.
When you, I have a question.
Christine. Yeah,
When you say to her right, is that her right or the right as I'm looking at it through the
oh, it'd
screen?
be your right. So yeah,
right,
to the
okay.
right. Sorry, not her right. Good point, Deb.
I think I've got people backwards here.
To the right of her.
Okay.
And then Deborah. So you're gonna have a line that has Barbara, Jean, Christine, and Deborah. And then you're gonna have a line that has Don, Mark, and Jerry. Okay, here we go. Did I get everybody? I got everybody. Something just moved, so I had to make sure. All right.
I don't see Jerry.
All right, so Leslie, Anna, Mary, Katie, Jane,
Leslie.
Barb, Melissa, Barbara, Jean, Christine, Deborah, Don, Mark, and Jerry. Okay, and that's the area, or that's the pattern that we will share in this afternoon. So our huddle is about summer programming. What are you thinking about? What are you hoping to do? How are you going to use this time outside of the regular curriculum? Or is it going to be your chance to infuse a bunch of curriculum into your year? I just want to share a couple of things. We are going to return to Learning Lab courses in August. So our summer thoughts are going to be in providing opportunities for you. We can now come together as of May 17th. We can invite people back to the Pastoral Center. So we will have some courses that we offer this summer and some opportunities, learning labs for people to work on projects together and come away. That's something that we had hoped to work on a long time ago, and we've been sidetracked for quite a few months. So we're getting back to that. That's what we hope to do with summer programming. And I'm going to pass it to the right on the screen. Anna, what are you thinking about?
Okay, so I've been struggling with this a little bit just because I feel like it's a big decision because we usually do a big summer intensive and then also help out at some ecumenical VBSs. The big summer intensive, I'm nervous with all the guidelines about making sure I can keep the kids safe and have enough catechists volunteer that feel comfortable enough. So I'm actually hoping to get some inspiration today or maybe some guidelines of what we can or shouldn't do if I were to do it. But I've also reached out to some of the other churches in town to see if they would be interested in doing more of a shorter day ecumenical VBS and kind of clustering it a little bit, because the kids, the way I'm looking at it is all the kids that are in Scottsville, for example, they're at school together, they're exposed together. So maybe if we might not get the numbers, if I just kept it just the way I used to do it. So, but getting it, opening up to the whole community and hoping that would give us a little bit more to do. And then if I don't know, I'm going back and forth whether I feel comfortable gathering or not that many kids for that many hours in such a small space. So some of the other ideas I've been kind of toying with is I don't know if it was 2030 Publications or what, but this came from Flam. It's a Praying with Mary book. It's just a small, it's got like little activities throughout it. So supplementing instead of doing the week-long intensive, finding more books like this, I have this. And then I've had my kids, they love being guinea pigs for the program, start using the Sunday Missal for kids. And this is great because not only does it have the readings at the end of each chapter, it has keywords. Oh, you're not going to be able to see it, but you have keywords. And at the beginning, it takes them through the whole mass as things are happening. So I was thinking about doing, like, if we don't do a summer intensive like we normally do, incorporating books like these to where they would almost have like little weekly, like, I don't know if I do journal writings or but I would check in with them about the readings and then find other areas that we would cover during the summer but at like a weekly thing more. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm gonna do, to be honest. I don't know. I feel like everything keeps changing weekly. And I was waiting to see now that the schools are going down to 3 feet, because with the tables and stuff we use, we don't have desks where the kids would be sitting individually. We'd have to be, it's a hot mess here at St. Martin de Porres.
Yeah.
So
know,
that's kind of,
No, go ahead.
it's kind of like what I'm gearing towards. I did see, I actually ran into the pastor at the Presbyterian church yesterday. And I don't know if anybody else does ecumenical VBSs, if there's anybody that does. How do you do it? Because when he was talking about stuff, like he's like, they don't do anything with saints, they don't do anything with Mary. And I'm like, I just feel my heart breaking. I'm like, that's all I do. So I might be reaching out. Patty, you were shaking your head that you do it, nodding. Anybody else? Okay, I might be bugging you. Okay, good. Patty. So
One of the things I just want to say, Anna, with the distancing thing, that question came up from Susan Ward in Webster this week. She wondered if, because the schools are going back to 3 feet, or if they're doing 3 feet, if that meant we were going to be observing that. I did reach out to Jim Tazel, our superintendent of Catholic schools. Catholic schools is going to keep it 6 feet for now.
okay.
Just out of an abundance of caution. So his suggestion was, let's try that through the remainder of the school year. And then
Okay.
because we haven't gotten specific direction yet for churches as
Right.
far as the CDC and the health department, the New York State Health Department is concerned. Right now, the only direction we have are some guidelines that came out about gatherings, like in-home gatherings, 25 people, that kind of thing. So we can use those. We're putting those up on the website, but it's still a little tricky. You're right. Things are still in flux and we're not quite sure. So.
Right. Well, I've been doing is we've been doing kind of a hybrid approach almost. Like we have some people that come in person, some people that have strictly just been online. And I
Yeah.
think families, if I don't want to offer so much over the summer that it's overwhelming for myself or for them. So that's why I'm thinking these little books with like just a weekly readings. And then like if I find little substitutes, like the Mary book, I think is awesome. And I actually found almost like a more of an adult version of it that focuses on praying with Mary. So I thought even the families could kind of do it intergenerational.
Yeah,
So.
great. All right, we're heading over to Mary.
So as you know, we do VBS with St. Francis St. Clair in Waterloo. I'm actually heading there on Monday to meet with Pam. We're gonna do Rocky Whaleway, and we're hoping to do it in August. Father Jim gave us the okay. We have no clue what it's gonna look like yet. Last year we had pickup. We did a virtual one kinda. We had pickups on Monday, so they did it at home. We're not sure what it's gonna look like this year. We don't know if we're gonna do in person. We'll find out more on Monday, but she couldn't make it to the meeting today. That's why I'm gonna be here taking all the notes today, and I'll share with her everything that we talk about today. So we're doing something. What it is, we're not sure yet.
All right, great. Katie, do you have anything you want to share on summer programming?
Just being a resource here, hopefully having more creative ideas for Family Zone and sending those out to you guys and helping in any way we can.
And the Family Zone, it does only come out twice a month in the summer, and it will probably stay with that format. And it's a lot more relaxed. So if you do use the Family Zone for faith formation, it's more of a family quality time resource with some prayer and a little bit of connection to the readings in the very beginning. But it's mainly an opportunity for families to have some engaging quality time together. We are going to infuse a few family field trips, some faith-based field trips this summer. So day tripping, the things that they might want to see that are faith-based, we're going to include. Jamie,
Yes, so we're hoping to have our VBS back for this summer. It is planned. And so far the response has been nice. Parents seem just grateful for those who are comfortable coming back to things, just that the church is able to offer VBS again. So it's going to be in mid-July. Right now we have 30 kids who are signed up to come. You know, we have a big parish center, so distancing is, you know, it's manageable in an area that we're fortunate to have like that. So, and then the 2 weeks after that, in the end of July, we are gonna have our summer intensive, the 2-week program. Because we have an old school building and the classrooms are so large, you know, we have school here 5 days a week now, and the kids are spaced those 6 feet apart. And, you know, that's been working out well for the whole school year. So those programs will continue for July. And in June, prior to that, we're going to be blessed to have Melissa Mang right here transitioning into the Faith Formation office here as the director. So I'm looking forward to that time with Melissa before I leave in the end of July.
And what is the theme of your VBS?
Well, Leslie, so that came from you, one of your freebies from the Resource Center. It was Gospel Express, it was called. So Mary, I know you're doing a train theme, you just said, the Rocky Railway, I believe. And because this was so old, the copyright, Leslie, 2007, I couldn't get much for it, but we're going to be fine. So luckily there's some other train themes out there, so we can easily supplement some ideas here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like to know the themes because then we can put stuff on our Pinterest board that have to do with it. So we'll look for train theme stuff and put it on the Pinterest board.
That would be great. And one last point to that is because there might be a few train themes, like you said. And I know the past several weeks when we meet, budgeting is always a concern for all of our parishes. Maybe like you, we always each year ask for donations for craft and snack supplies. So because we have a train theme, if it's helpful, I was kind of working on this today, these little train cards I have to cut out. And we just do a little basic display board in the entrance of church. And parish families, whether they can send their kids or not, especially the older folks, they like to take part in VBS by taking home one of these little cards and returning it next week with a simple craft or snack donation.
That's nice. That's a good idea. All
How
right.
many kids typically attend your program?
You know, the past few years prior to COVID, we had about 50 come, I'd say, on a regular basis, give or take a few here or there.
Nice. All right, Patty.
Yeah, 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, the people at the Baptist Church reached out to us and asked us if we wanted to be part of their ecumenical vacation Bible school. So I talked with the principal at our St. Michael's school a couple of months ago, and she said, why don't we host it this year? Typically it's hosted at the Baptist Church. It's going to be Rocky Railway. We usually do it the last week of June. So give me a minute here. The dates for this year is June 28th to July 2nd. And it's really an ecumenical effort. I think they reached out to us because the volunteers that they had just from the Baptist Church were getting older. So the last time we did it, which was 2 years ago, we had more Catholic families attending. My pastor wanted to make sure that everybody had safe environment training. So that was something that I had to, talk to the other church leaders about. We have one person that I call her the superintendent of it. And she was the one who said, yes, it's going to be Rocky Railway. Here are the dates. It's typically an 8:30 in the morning until about noon program for that week. And then I noticed last year, the last year that we did it, the program really stressed that you should stay in touch with your families over the summer and have sort of a reunion in the fall to kind of kick them off into a faith formation program. And I know that they didn't do that. And I suggested that, ecumenically we try to do that because it would help all of us. Oh, and I should say, prior to COVID, there were probably about 30 to 50 children who attended. There is a preschool and group. And then I don't know how we're going to do it actually at the Baptist church this year, because if we have 30 children register, I just don't, knowing their space, I just don't see how we're going to make it happen. But I'm leaving that up to the Holy Spirit and the congenial efforts of all of us who are involved. So it's Catholic Church, Baptist Church, Methodist Church, and we sometimes get families from, it's called the Wellspring Christian Fellowship. They're kind of an offshoot of Mennonites. That they didn't like all the structure of, or not the structure, the limits of a typical Mennonite church. So they went and made their own church. So we get usually families from that church too. And it doesn't go much past grade 5. But one thing that I did ask was my families that had middle school students, if they would be more involved helping to bring the skits to life, helping in the preschool room. And that happened to a smaller degree, but I hope to grow that.
Mhm.
And then I also do confirmation preparation during the summer as a summer intensive. So that's what my summer looks like.
And is your summer intensive for confirmation? Is that a certain number of weeks, or what do you do that?
So in year 1, it's a week. In year 2, it's 10 days. And then to make sure that I have enough hours of preparation, every month I give them an assignment to work on. So I don't have anybody registered yet for confirmation year 1. And I only had one person last year, and we did it all through Zoom for her confirmation year 1. So she'll advance to confirmation year 2. And actually, sometimes people ask me about that. Wouldn't it be better to have a bigger group? I do believe it would. So I chose a resource last year that we had on hand, and I liked it, but I think it would have been better as the text that we might have used for the proximate preparation. So what the text that I really like using, and it's a little beyond 8th graders, but I chose it because I want my students to be able to have it as a reference book as they're going through high school. So it's called the Catholic Faith Handbook from St. Mary's Press. And so 3 years ago, when we had new students who wanted to get enrolled, because I kind of split the book in half. In year 1, we do half of the book. In year 2, we do the other half of the book. And in that particular summer intensive, we welcomed new people, but started them in the second half of the book, and also plugged them into service projects that I had brainstormed for us to do as a group, not to do as individuals. And they all seemed to really like that. So I think I'm going to go back to that, even if I have 8th graders, because part of the reason I chose that was I didn't have any 8th graders for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
High school students, and I think it works really well as a resource for them.
Does anybody else do a summer intensive for sacraments?
Sort of.
Does one?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Okay, Barb.
Got to take yourself off mute, Barb.
Yeah. It's always that unmute. Yeah. Well, I at first I was thinking I have no idea what we're doing this summer. And then I realized I have a little idea. I know that we had an NCYC meeting last night before, not last night, but the night before, where we are gonna do a couple of fundraisers. We're gonna do a take stock in our youth. And of course, we can't be in the narthex, right? Because you don't want to back people up as they're getting out of church. So they're gonna be in the hallway of our parish center, which is nearby, so people can come by there if they want. Or if it's a nice day, they'll be out, not in the parking lot where they would disrupt traffic, but rather kind of looped around the church so people can, usually they would stand there with baskets and people would just give them donations. So we're going to try and work it so that we're not in anybody's way, but we're still there. Our group is, I have kids signed up, but some are, immediately dropping out because they think, I don't want to do virtual. It's hard to imagine, isn't it? Even doing.
Mhm.
So I don't know how many kids I'll get, but parish is generally very, very generous. So I really only need a few, I think, and that'll bring in, some enthusiasm. And then they would also like to do our regular chicken barbecue at the end of June. And that's one of those fundraisers that everything I'm hearing right now is that chicken barbecues are going remarkably well.
Yeah.
Going out really, really fast. So I'm encouraged by that. And our last time we did one, we sold tickets, we pre-sold tickets, and the day we were mobbed by that. So we're gonna have to move it. It can't be right out in the parking lot where people would congregate. And we're moving it from a Thursday night to a Sunday, that kind of stuff. So lots of
It's gonna be a drive-through?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a Saturday night. We're gonna at 4 o'clock, and we're gonna put it, if you've been to our campus, we're gonna put it off to the side on the other side of the school where people can drive through very easily and just pick up their
Mhm.
it won't be visible from the road, and that's always been a good draw, but it'll be easy drive through. So
Yeah.
only need 6 kids for 4 hours, and I can make it happen. 6 kids or adults. We can make it. So right now I think, and I think I'll be doing a lot more of the work than I just say, parents do fundraisers. I'll tell you dates and things that work or don't work, or I'll give you the rules and that's it. But I do think I'm going to end up doing a lot more work right now. I think that people are just not, there isn't the enthusiasm to get them up off the couch and running
Mhm.
when there isn't the enthusiasm to get them up to do much at all. Running fundraisers that's a whole nother thing. So I think that'll be part of my time. And then in the next month or so, I'll probably be doing a whole lot of surveys with kids of, okay, what do we want to do? And we might do some outdoorsy kind of service projects. A former student of mine works at Genesee Lighthouse in Charlotte. Genesee, what is it? The lighthouse by Holy Cross. And they need help with the gardens. I mean, that's a good outside project.
Mhm.
That kind of stuff of what can we do? And I'm very interested when you said day trips. I'm right on that, man. Because I have to take some time off in July. My daughter is coming back from Germany and coming to South Carolina. So I have some grandchildren that haven't been kissed in 3 years. And, there's some kissing that has to be done. So I'll be taking a good amount of time off in July because it's got to be take days for doing all that kissing.
Yeah.
So I
Nice.
any kind of stuff that I can plug people into to keep enthusiasm, keep people connected who want to be connected,
Right.
but not pressure people. Keep people looped in. And in a way that is holy and spiritual and connects people to something larger than themselves, and that we've got a purpose and a task on earth, and it's not to sit at home and watch Netflix, which is what I do.
I always thought it would be kind of cool to create something with those day trips that are kind of holy. Kind of like, remember, if you lived in the Rochester area when we had like the horses on parade and you could pick up, they were, sculptures that people had painted, but you could
Yeah.
pick up from the bank a scavenger hunt so that you could go see the different horses. And my kids and I would pick that up, and that was, they were 5 and 7. We would go looking for these and we'd get out and take our picture at them. And we did this whole scavenger hunt all summer long. I always thought it would be really fun to create a scavenger hunt of holy faith-based destinations that they could pick up at the beginning of the summer, and throughout the summer kind of stop and get their picture taken somewhere, and maybe have a few tasks and just make it something fun. It doesn't have to be enormous. It doesn't have to be 50 stops, but what if it was 10 places that they went, with maybe, 2 things that they did, or something like that.
Didn't Jonathan Schott do something like that a few?
May have.
It might be in
I
your
don't know
file.
about it, but it would be fun.
Wasn't there something about the year that there was several New York State saints?
Oh, maybe.
Because it was the saint, it was Auburn maybe, or Albany. And there was like 2 or 3 saints in the same year being elevated from blessed to sainthood.
Mhm.
I think it was like along the thruway or something.
Oh, that would be cool. So that would be something fun that people could do. Maybe we'll have to brainstorm that, but
It was the year that St. Cattery and St. Mary Ann Cope were raised up.
oh, okay.
Yes, and so
Okay.
if you search your files on Mary Ann Cope, I bet you there's something that, I'm sure there was some kind of visit these places.
Yeah. Yeah. Anna, that could be a bingo board. Okay, Melissa.
Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today. But, as Jamie mentioned, I will be joining her June 1st at St. Lawrence. And that is an honor and a privilege to be going over there to be with Jamie this summer. And I don't know if anyone knows, but that's where I first started teaching as a volunteer catechist 20 years ago, and my children grew up in the parish.
Oh.
And, but that's when I really learned to love, teaching faith formation. I just want to give Jamie a little plug, but I fell in love with teaching the faith. And at the time I was a New York State certified teacher. I was teaching in Catholic schools, but then I thought, wouldn't it be incredible to teach the faith all day long? And so then I had a job at St. Mary's in Canandaigua. I did 3rd grade, but then I came back to Siena, and then I actually moved completely into the parish setting. So, and then to be back with Jamie and her staff is just, it's more than a blessing to me, because that's where I learned to love teaching the faith so much. Jamie was such a witness to the faith and still is. So I just look forward to joining her and everyone from the bottom of my heart. And so I know that I will have big shoes to fill. I look forward to just watching Jamie and supporting her this summer as they move through their Vacation Bible School and summer session. And hopefully I'll do more help than good to harm then. I hope not to get in the way. So, but it's anything I can do, I would love to help. But just in the past, I've done Vacation Bible Camp just like everyone. We've used the canned approach, which are lovely. The kids love the weird animal VBS, and those are so sweet and very quick to teach kids Bible, the parables and the miracles of Jesus. And I've done the same thing with summer session. We did this, what I decided to do with summer sessions, we don't have them anymore because I can't find the volunteers, but I have focused on one theme of the catechism every year. That's what I used as our topic for summer session, and then wove all the themes from those pillars right through a spiral curriculum from kindergarten all the way to grade 9, taking into account, the religion appropriate standards as well. So, but I don't think anyone should do that though. That's kind of weird how I planned everything too much. Like you probably, I know it's great, but I don't know. I like to torture myself, I guess, but it was beautiful. But I really look forward to going over to St. Lawrence and seeing my dear friends. So that's it for this year. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Barbara Quinn.
Well, we are in a state of transition in Auburn. We're getting a new priest. We're talking about closing our churches. So we're in a real state of transition, and people are just coming out. We were very fortunate to have Zoom classes and in-person classes, and our in-person classes made it all the way through with no incidences. Because we have the old schools. So the original thought was to have 2 weeks in the summer and offer some programs. And so we have some things on the burner, but we're waiting to find out when our new pastor comes, where his sentiments are and where he wants to go. But one of the projects that the confirmation kids do, and usually it's an in-person project, it's kind of a review. I give them all the things that we've covered in the 2 years. And they kind of I put it in a basket and they pull out their title. And then their job is to create a lesson, a game, or a PowerPoint or a slide, something that teaches that concept to the younger kids. And usually if we are in-house, we'll have a day that we go to the faith formation program. We use the gym, we set them all up, and the kids go around in stations. So we have a youth group starting on the 16th that goes a short youth group session that's doing Catholic social teaching. So the concept is to use some of these programs. And my whole idea is, sometimes we lose kids right after confirmation. They don't have anything to do, and get them involved in working with the kids. So that's where we are. What we get done, we don't know.
Good luck with all of those transitions. Jean.
Hello. So I was the person who asked how many kids do you typically deal with? Our summer intensive pre-COVID was about 175, to 200 kids, plus a bunch of teen volunteers and a catechist and an adult helper. So lots and lots of people weren't able to pull that off last year. So our program was virtual at home. And you've heard from other people, we don't really have the standards yet in terms of having an in-person thing. And with a program that large, I typically start planning in January. So we're continuing the at-home version this year. And I opened registration a couple weeks ago. I've got about 30 families, and a lot fewer than I would pre-COVID would have at this time. And I think it's because it's not 2 weeks is not in person. Parents can drop off their kids for 2 weeks. And that's a big element that parents really like, is that that it's taking care of their kids for 2 weeks, and they're getting a little religion at the same time. So yeah, we're going to stick with the at-home thing this summer, and I'm really hoping to be able to add a few events. We're going to be changing up one of the masses to make it more family friendly during the summer, so we can tie some things in with that. Maybe by the end of the summer, we'll be able to have a picnic. We'll see how things go. But for right now, it's going to be at home, and have some Zoom meetings during that.
Okay. Christine.
Hello. Sorry about my distraction. I had kids coming home right as we were getting started. So, but I've been enjoying listening to all of you and what you have going on. I really don't have anything going on. I'm just, trying to get through sacraments right now. So I have not given much thought to the summer. But we really haven't had any summer programming as far as like a summer intensive or anything like that for quite a few years. So I feel fortunate that I don't have to try to make that work. But about 3 years ago, I started doing like a small group of boys. And so I hope to be able to get back to that this year. And really my focuses are going to be on the preparation for NCYC and figuring out what that's going to look like and getting the group together so that we can become a cohesive unit on our virtual pilgrimage this year. And, my oldest son recently received confirmation and he's in 9th grade. And we really haven't had much in the way of high school youth ministry since I've been here, really. We had a little start that didn't last very long. And so just, again, trying to figure out how to do that without it all coming on me is really where my priority is. Sorry. So that's all I'll say right now.
Okay, thanks, Christine. Deb.
Well, Lisa Brott is our religious ed children's faith formation, and she had changed over the religious ed program back in September to mostly Bible study, at-home Bible study, and then they bring the kids in once a month and they do prayer and crafts and additional study that way. She had talked about doing a true vacation Bible study over the summertime. She was waiting to see what direction the public schools were going to go in as far as COVID, how far, this 3 feet apart now is what they have, and they're just getting established on that. But I believe she's moving in the right direction. She's moving still in the direction of vacation Bible study, because I received a mail note. I was copied in on the mail note, I should say, from one of the families who, one of our larger families. They have like 10 kids in the family, and they were the 3 oldest ones who were interested in a vacation Bible study. And these were not young kids. One of them was just confirmed. He's like 9th grade, and the other is 10th and 11th, or maybe even 12th grade. So I thought that was interesting, but I've got to follow up with her and see, did she intend the program maybe to even extend into high school, or maybe use them as volunteers, because to help with the younger kids, because she had mentioned in one of her notes to me that she was having some difficulty getting volunteers, and she wasn't sure if they were all going to come back, but I believe she is still moving ahead with that. As far as our sacraments, we're through with First Holy Communion. We finished that up this past weekend, and the kids were really great. Father really went all out for them. He made sure that they went down the aisle traditional way, which we haven't done. Father's usually coming out through the sacristy, and the parents and grandparents were all in tears. So we did that, and it was a very joyous event for us. For the confirmation kids, the ones that I have that are first year going into second year, I just sent out to the parents, and I had gone over this with the teens a few weeks ago, what my idea was, and as far as what we were going to do over the summer. Last summer we partnered with you guys on the Eye of God. And we had a few confirmation families join in with that, and a few of our religious ed families join that. But this year for my confirmation kids, I really wanted to center them and focus them in on their own personal faith growth. And because part of our service project, it not only involves service to your family, service to the local community, service within the church, they have to be able to develop themselves to some extent. I mean, I can sit there and yik yak at them all the time, and you're only going to get so much out of them, during a 1 hour class that we have. So I wanted to focus them in. And so what I did was we developed what we call a spring and summer challenge for 2021. And they're going to take a look at certain topics. And I tried to make them center around confirmation or topics of confirmation. For example, a little bit on the Eucharist, the apostles, reading from scripture, Pentecost, using the description from Acts of the Apostles, and try to give them some topics that they could write on and give me their thoughts on paper, not extensive research. I'm not looking for anything like that. I'm looking for something that would be a little bit fun for them, yet maybe would interest them, pique their interest so that they would learn a little bit about that particular topic. So I sent that out. The kids indicated that they would be interested in something like that. So I sent that out today, and we'll see if they follow up with it, because one of the things I mentioned to the parents was that I'm really interested in hearing the voice of the teens. What I don't want them to do is do a copy paste from the internet, put it on a piece of paper and send it back. I'm not looking for anything, and I'm not looking for research. I'm not looking for analysis. I'm looking for their thoughts on how a particular area, such as let's take for the Eucharist, we'll take that as it, let them describe the Eucharist, what it is, what it's made up of, how do we use it in the, in the Catholic Church, and just a little bit about it. But I want to know how and in what way the Eucharist may have helped strengthen them over the years. Help strengthen their belief in God, help strengthen them, listen to any doubts that they may have, things like that. So I'm hoping that some of the subject areas might be more a little bit lighthearted and fun for the summer, but yet pique their interest in learning a little bit. So that's the direction that I've gone in with them.
Great. Thanks, Dad. Don.
So this summer, I don't have a parish to, set up programming for. But one of the things I want to do is support parishes that I might run into. So if you're doing a Bible school or you're doing something like that, have your kids wear their t-shirts through the summer, because it's a good evangelization tool. And I'm going to make an actual effort to try and recognize the t-shirts if I see them in Wegmans or out at the park or at the zoo or whatever, and say, oh, you must go to St. Mary's or whatever, so that we can try and encourage them a little bit and make them feel better about the fact they're doing Bible school. And then the other thing I want to do is try and give family type activities, maybe steal some from the Family Zone, but do things like that on our Facebook page so that they get out to the broader public. I think summer is always a good time for evangelization.
I agree. I was reading today a couple of blogs from different parishes, and one of the things that one of the parishes was going to do for evangelization was there was a baseball field next door, which we have that at St. Catherine's. So if Karen was on the call today, I would say, Karen, you got to do this idea. Their parish, their staff is going to show up at one of the baseball nights with coolers full of like ice creams on a stick, different ice cream, and just say, this is a gift from our parish, not saying, when masses are, please come join us, nothing like that. Just, we want you to have this. Thanks for being good neighbors. It's just a great opportunity to reach out to the community, be present in the community, let people know you're still there. If the community has lost sight of your parish in the last year and a half, let them know you're still there and be present to them. So, those little things that you can do to evangelize are really neat. And I thought that was such a great idea. I know Christine, your parish, because I live in the community that your parish is in, your parish has always been a face at different events in the community. So especially when Sister Karen was there, if we were having, a community festival, St. Paul of the Cross always had a booth there and they were always present. And I was always really jealous of that fact that, we couldn't seem to get that going at St. Catherine's. And I'd say, oh, this is so great. I see them there. They're at the booth. They're just handing out stuff. Anything we can do right now, I think, to get in front of families and come out of our churches and be present and see people and evangelize to people. It's such a good point.
Well, and it doesn't cost much to throw a label on a fudge sickle that says a gift from, and put your parish name on it.
Right. It really doesn't. So, easy things like that we can use our summer time to just evangelize. We don't have to, we certainly don't have to write a whole curriculum, Melissa. But if you want to, you can, but use your time to just evangelize. Just let people know you're there and you care about them, and you're there to keep loving them through whatever we're still experiencing as a society with this pandemic. And you're going to be there when everything is good again. So I think just that presence, that ministry of presence, is really, really important this summer. Mark, I did not skip you. Do you have something you would like to share?
No, I was just going to say, my parish is right next door to some townhomes that were just recently built. And there's actually a little sidewalk that connects the parish property to the track of townhomes. And I just wonder, if my parish could capitalize on the fact that there are new neighbors in our backyard and what we could do. Of course, as you know, I've been on a cooking kick lately, trying to use my culinary degree, as my colleagues in this office kindly remind me, you have a degree, you should probably use it. So I wonder if there's opportunities in your respective parishes to use food, and we started to talk about that just now, to evangelize and be present with the people in your respective communities. Cookout, fudgesicles, as Don mentioned, but food definitely goes a long way. One of the things that we're contemplating on the young adult side of things, since that's very near and dear to my heart, is a little gathering with a couple of priests in our diocese who potentially have good culinary skills, and gather young adults just for a cooking lesson from priests who happen to have fantastic cooking skills. So that could be something that could translate into a parish setting, with your pastor cooking a meal for some families. So just some random thoughts, but you all have great wisdom and do great work. So it was a joy listening to some of the things that you're thinking about in your ministries.
We have been organizing, the materials in the library, as you know, and I've come across a lot of children's books that I didn't know we had, and I have quite a large assortment of my own children's stories. And I've been looking lately at different faith-based websites and how they use children's literature because I want to do a little bit with it on our gathering on June 3rd, our day of creativity with one another. But children's stories are also a great way. You could have a children's story hour out in the garden. We have a Mary garden at St. Catherine's. I don't know what kind of gardens or outdoor space you have, but it could be as easy as gathering families for a half hour outside to come hear a story and maybe get a take home treat. So, or a take home craft or something like that. So if you ever want to borrow one of our children's books or several of our children's books, if you don't have the resources for that and you would like them, we have those available.
I always wanted to do that with a Christmas in July and invite people over for Christmas stories and talk
that would be
about the infant.
fun. That would be fun. See, there's different ways you can be creative with it. I also wanted you to know that when we were figuring out the library and arranging the library, I did come across this 3 different themes. Catholic Vacation Bible School. It's camping, which includes like fishing. It's Kingdom of Heaven, so it's like a castle mode, and it's We're on God's Team. So if you want to do a short summer program and you don't want to have to invest a lot of time and effort into it, we do have this book for lending as well. Maybe you just do a couple of family nights and you take that theme and you take some ideas from it, and you've got a 2-day program and you still let people know that you are there and you're present and faith is a part of their life. That's where we want to think with our summer programming. Doesn't have to, this should be a time for you guys to rest. It has been a very trying year for all of you, I know, and we've worked really hard and we've stretched ourselves to the limits. We don't want to disappear for the summer because that habit is a good thing, but it can be on such an easy, relaxed scale, and we can still make a big difference in letting families know. Families are really searching for, they want to get out and they want to have that quality time and they want to be in the safe space. They don't want to necessarily be at a festival full of tons and tons of people, but they want something fun to do with their kids. So a movie night, maybe you can, if you have an outside space, have an outside movie night, but something where families can just gather, maybe stargazing and prayer. Really easy. We're going to go look at the stars and we're going to say a night prayer together. Bring your sleeping bag and sit and look up at the stars. Something cool like that on the church parking lot. But I hope it is a great summer for you. And we're going to keep thinking of ideas and sending them your way. Thank you for sharing your ideas with us today. Anybody want to do a quick high five for somebody before we have announcements?
Oh,
Anybody
yes.
had a, yes, Barbara? Oh, you
Muted.
put your microphone off. There you go. Microphone back on.
I must have had it off. I thought I was muted. Don, I want to thank you. He had to do 2 confirmations in Auburn on the same day. And as usual, you guys did a marvelous job, and thank you for all your help.
Thank you. 2 more. We've got 2 more.
2 more confirmations. He's almost done.
Not that we're counting down.
I want to give a high five to you, Leslie, because
Gabby.
those Kathy Goler opportunities, they have been really good. So
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. We had a lot of fun with them. She's great. Thank you, Patty. Oh, Melissa?
I want to give a high five to you, to Leslie and all your team there, of course, for the wonderful newsletters, but I haven't actually been able to be on much, but out of the goodness of your heart, thank you so much for the webinars on the family programs and from John Roberto. And you don't even know, I ran out of paper taking notes. So I am just so blessed that you allowed me to attend those. It feels good to be back. That's what I
I'm
said.
glad.
Thank
I'm
you.
very glad.
God bless.
All right. Well, great. Katie, can you show our announcements? All right, so we've got materials. We've always got materials for you. Please make use of these great resources for your parish. We've got a lot of catechist formation stuff. We've been going through all of our catechist formation stuff, preparing for the future. And we have found duplicates of several materials. So if some of these materials look good to you, they are worth it for your library. They're new. We've got some storybooks here as well. And they are going to be helpful in preparing your catechist for the future. So send a note to Katie in the chat or send her an email and we will send those right out to you. Next slide. Upcoming Zoom meeting. So we go to just 2 meetings a month now. We will on May 13th talk about incorporating the year of the family in your parish and some ideas for family gatherings. On May 27th, we're going to do a follow-up to the ministerium, which is on May 20th. We'll talk about what we heard, what we wanted to discuss further, and do some sharing about that particular topic again, which is going to be, welcoming people back. I highly recommend looking at the second Reimagining the Parish, which just came out this week from Parish Catalyst. It's a very good webinar, some great ideas in there, but that conversation is continuing, so we need to keep thinking about it. On June 10th, we're going to talk about the What If articles from John Roberto. The link with those articles was in the newsletter that came out this week. And on June 24th, we will show you what we have for training catechists this summer and beyond. We're working on all kinds of materials right now, and we'll have them to preview for you on June 24th. Next slide. Masterclass. Melissa Mang was singing the praises of the masterclass that she got to attend. If you would like the opportunity to attend a masterclass for free through Vibrant Faith Catalyst, this one is on developing playlists. That's still a skill that a lot of us are learning about. So I've taken this class. This is kind of a replay of something I took back in the winter or in the fall, and I highly recommend it. Kathy Pittenger is a great instructor. So if you're interested, just email me and I will give you the code to take that for free. Next slide. On June 3rd, we are really excited to spend this day of refueling and retreat with you. It's going to be a little bit of retreat, a little bit of coming away with new ideas, and a lot of creativity. We're going to be sharing story, song, art, nature, prayer, and fellowship with one another. You get lunch with that. We'll be outside at Mendon Ponds Park, but we have a shelter and we even have an inside space if we need it, close to the restrooms. It's a great space. And we are going to engage our imaginations. All the studies show that we're better catechists when we let our imagination come into the process and we don't just teach the facts, we help kids embrace the story. So we're going to work on storytelling through art and song and poetry and all kinds of neat things. We're doing a lot of research on it, and it's going to be a fun, creative day away to be entertained, to be able to be creative with your own skills and to come away with lots of ideas for the year. Next slide. Young Adult Retreat is coming up Pentecost weekend in Auburn. It's a great opportunity for your young adults. I hope you are advertising this within your parish. They're working really hard on it. Please help them get the critical mass of young adults they need to make this happen and be a great day for everybody. So please advertise. Next slide. Called and Gifted is coming back. If you have a young adult that would like to participate in this program, contact Mark and he can speak with that young adult about the opportunities of this discernment and vocational exploration process that is with small groups. It's a great opportunity for young adults. So to find more out about it, you're going to contact Mark. NCYC tickets go on sale May 1st. Remember, that is the virtual option. If you want to participate in NCYC Live, you do need to go through NFCYM yourself. We are not sponsoring a pilgrimage to NCYC in person this year, but we are going to have a great event where we have some live gatherings as a diocese connected to the virtual experience in Indianapolis. So we are working on that. Contact Mark for more information. We have been buying some new resources for our library for lending. These are not giveaways. These are for checking out to use. This is a great series, all kinds of reproducibles. If you want to take a peek at them and see how you might use them in your ministry, you can make an appointment starting May 17th. You can come to the parish center and we can let you come in and take a peek in our library and see what you might like. But we'll be highlighting some resources every time we get a chance to gather with you and let you know how you can make use of them for your planning. These are really, really great. And they're updated. They're 2017. So they're not old resources. They're new and they meet the needs of today's student. The Diocesan Social Ministry Conference is coming on May 6th. They're putting this invitation out to catechetical leaders. It's a day to reflect on Fratelli Tutti, which is the recent encyclical by Pope Francis, and talk about issues of Catholic social teaching, such as racism, life issues, dignity of work, and creation care. All right. So thank you so much for sharing what you're doing, what you're up to. If you have a great idea that you would like to share that pops in your head, let us know about it and we'll get the word out. And if you want to do something with others, we'll help connect you to people in your region. Okay. I hope that you are all taking good care of yourself and that you will stay warm and cozy on this rainy, drizzly day. And I'm sure there is sunshine ahead in the forecast somewhere. But until then, keep your chin up. Thank you for all you do. And thanks for spending time with us today. We will see you on May 13th.